Welcome, everyone. As Francisca hesitantly mentioned, my name is Gerlinda. I work for the IFFR Film Institute in Amsterdam. This is Valérie Massadian. That's the girl it's all about this afternoon. We're going to talk about 25 minutes, and of course, you will be invited later on after some of my questions to join us, because it's about you and it's about you. I have very simple questions. How did you come up with this story? Why this film?
What, the story or the film?
The first story.
Story, I don't know, out of my sick head. No, I had written 20 pages because I knew I was going to work with a child this age, and I knew I was not going to use the script.
But how did you know you were going to work with a child?
Oh yeah, that I wanted. I knew I wanted to work with a child, and a child this age.
Long-time desire.
Oh yeah. So there was no need to. I knew the script was fake in a way that it was a tool to go get money and convince people to give me a little money, because I couldn't come and say, "Oh, I'm going to work with a kid. It's going to be great. Give me money." Doesn't work that way. So I did that, and then I met her. And everything that I could have in my head or written had to be confronted to her, because she's 4, and there are many things I didn't know about the film, which was I didn't know what the film would be, but I knew one thing, which was that I would not impose any adult thing onto the child, because to me, I don't know, you can't do that. I have too much respect for these monsters, because they're not social. They're very political. They're not social beings yet. They're animals. They're primitive. And I find that really beautiful. So I knew that I wanted to look for things into that and try to create a cinema space where this could, with patience and work, maybe come. But for that, I had to be as less intrusive as possible.
So, of course, you have to prepare every shot, but still, was there room, or you had to improvise?
But
is that what you
it's
say,
not improvisation, because improvisation, you tell a person, okay, we're going to do this, and you're really sad, and let's improvise.
Yeah.
But you don't do that with a 4-year-old kid. And you don't even do that with a grandfather who's a farmer, who's now a friend, but who was my neighbor, and
So how does it work? Because you shot
you
lots
go
of
from
hours.
situation, there's 60 hours.
60 hours? Only with the child or altogether? Okay.
Of things. And you just go from situations. I mean, the only direction as director I would give her it was more questions, It was more like, okay, if you had to move all your toys from the house and bring them to a forest, how would you do it? So she decided to do it a certain way, and we shot that, and then 2-3 days later, she said, but because I was doing something, and she decided she wanted to try something else. So, and the thing is, we work with camera like this. So there's no preparation. I only work with natural light, except for like 5 shots in the film that are inside, but it's like one bigger than this.
Yeah.
So this, we're 2 people, 5 at the maximum, because at one point those cameras are great, but I mean, I think these are better than the one I had. But to do a wide shot of nature with a small camera is disgusting. And so I had to, for like 5 days, I had a bigger camera.
Yeah.
But then I had to erase the DP we had special effect, because he was in the shot, so I had to erase.
Lots of special effects there.
Big.
So you were one of the DRPs actually yourself in the film. You shot lots of material yourself.
Yeah.
Because of the connection you wanted to have with her?
Yeah, because at one point I spent a lot of time with her. I mean, we shot all together 22 days or something, but I spent months in between and before, and because it was for her and for me. I mean, I needed to know her and to know her body and how she would get pissed off and how she does things and how, because everything is a challenge for Kilina. Everything.
Yeah.
Everything. I mean, you just say something and it becomes a challenge. You just, And that's why I love her, because she's very similar. I mean, I understand her, and she understands me.
Is that
very
also
well.
what you wanted to show us? Because since she's so small, it's difficult to climb over small branches.
Yeah, but she's way more, she's got so much, and it's not just her. I mean, I choose her because that's what I wanted to kind of say. I mean, children are very often seen as fragile little thing that you have to protect, and they're Hitlers, they're monsters for real, and they become, but they are. I mean, they're cruel to each other. They spend 2 hours in a courtyard at school. You'll see, they're like, and they have a body and they're powerful. I mean, if the strength she has. If we grew the same way, the same speed, we'd be like oak, because she's 90 centimeters, but she can carry, things. The things a child learns in 1 month compared to us. I mean, we're so slow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also one thing, which is the résilience. I don't know the word in English. Resilience. That is, doesn't matter. You're dead, okay, but I have to walk,
Yeah, simple as that. So how did she like it to be in a film, or did she even understand it? Or?
Oh yeah, it's strange because she understands it the way I understand it, of course. Because to me, sometimes it's very difficult for me because it's not like I put the camera and I film the kid and she's great and it's a great film. I mean, it doesn't work that way. She's in the film. She's a character. She's a film character. It's her words. It's her body. It's her rhythm. But she becomes a movie character. She doesn't live in a house like this. She has all the pink shit that every girl has. It's horrible. She sees all the really bad cartoons. So she learned nature. She didn't even have this. Even if she lived in the village next to me, she was very not earthy.
Yeah.
And
now she is.
Well, it was for her. It was like a apprentissage, learning, and it's connected to life. I mean, for her, making a film is spending time with Valérie and asking questions and getting answers. Yeah. and which she doesn't really get in her own life.
Okay.
So it was good, and she saw the film with me because it's the first person I showed it to. And up there.
Yeah.
And she was sitting on my lap, and she commented every shot.
In what way?
She saw everything. I mean, she saw things that most people don't see, like, when she's on the couch and she fakes that she's writing, like, and then it's a wider shot, and she goes, not bad at all. The mother is at the door, and the mother has, I know I edited it, so I was like, you do this, and you spend 5 hours going, okay, that's, and then you realize that you're the only one who's going to see it, but it will be there somehow. and the mother just holds herself to the door, to the stone, to the wall, and she just turned around and said, I think my mother's is a little bit scared of me. She... And everything, like, of course, when it's the pig, she said, well, I knew he was dead, and so... And then we did the Q&A afterwards. It was brilliant. It was only farmers and peasant people from the place, and the things people said were incredible. And at one point, this woman was asking, because, the resolution of the mother is open. Mm-hmm. So she was like, so what's going on with the mother, And Kilina was sitting on it. She said, she's dead. You're so dumb, And so she's very proud, And now she's very pissed off at me because when we see each other, I don't have a camera. It's like, what are you doing,
She wants to be on camera again.
Oh, but she says, you and me, we make films. And it's true. Yeah. I really hope,
So
we will do other things.
Mm-hmm. We know who's in charge here.
Oh yeah, I like this little woman. She's.
So we have this one question, we answered it already. Mm-hmm. She's dead. So let's talk a little bit about style. You chose for a very quiet style. There's no music, which you could have used to give us the emotions you wanted us to have.
Oh.
Obviously, you don't want that. There's a very quiet camera. You do like this, so we know perhaps a little bit of your answer. But why these choices?
To me, there is music. It's really fun. A friend of mine is a cello player and a Russian, and he did the music for Bartabas, and he actually did something for Pina Bausch. He's one of the only one who has done something for Pina Bausch. And he came out of the film and he said, "Oh, it's so beautiful, the music in your film." There is music. Music is, it's the bees, it's the wind, it's nature. Because there's two main characters in the film for me. It's her and nature.
Yeah.
That's very important.
Yeah.
Which is why those cameras are not so great. And quiet because once at one point I thought I was going to play the mother because it would be a way to free her, because she would just be with me. I don't have a challenge, like I want to be pretty on camera, I don't care. So it would be a way to voilà. But then because we spent so much time together, and there was Kalina, the camera, and Valerie, it became this, there was like a umbilical cord almost between us. And we talked. I mean, she talks a lot, and I could build a completely different film because she looks at me, she asks me things, I answer, but I built the film you find on the editing table. I found on the editing table. I had ideas that maybe there was a film, but I really found it on the editing table. And quiet because each takes, you can't do, as I never said, okay, you're going to do this and you're going to say this. This doesn't exist in the process of work. So I had to create a cinema space where it was like our own little theater. I was down there with her, but it was our own little theater. And each takes were like 20 minutes, 40 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, what's in the film, they're moments, like very short,
Yeah.
even if they're long, but of those takes,
But
of those, And for that, you just need to be really quiet, because you can't redo. I mean, when you confront a child, deaf, all children talk about death. I mean, they'll ask, like, where you go afterwards, blah, blah, blah. And so we talked a lot about it. And when I said, okay, I asked a friend to catch a rabbit, and he actually called and he caught one, so he's going to bring it over, and we're going to do something in the house with the rabbit. So of course, Kalina, she's 4, and a rabbit, it's like soft, it jumps, it's a toy, it's funny, it's alive. And I said, And so it was on the grass, and she looked at it, and she said, it's real? I said, yeah. So it's dead? I said, yeah. But I can still play with it. I said, well, yeah. And so, but with dead people, where we put them? I said, well, I had already explained this to her. So I said, do you want us to eat the rabbit afterwards or bury him? So we had a little burial and ceremony afterwards.
You didn't eat it?
No, the pig we did, and it was, it was our food for the whole shooting. And
but it's your budget.
And yeah, it was a small budget, good solutions, And what were we saying? I got lost between the pig and the rabbit.
Let me, before we go to you, one more question, and then maybe we can come up where we left off. You raise lots of questions. You don't give answers. Kalina maybe gives answers, but you don't. How did it go after Locarno? You won a prize a few months ago. How did this go with other Q&As with the audience?
That's one thing that's really, to me, the most beautiful gift is the fact that from whether it's in Chile or in Switzerland or in England or wherever, meaning different culture, different background, different social background. I mean, with a film like this, you have people who see the film. I'm not talking about watching, I'm talking about seeing, and the ones who don't see it. So, but there's no middle thing. So that's already easy. You have people who hate you, but you only took 1 hour of their life. That's okay, you know. And people who raises questions. And the thing is, people who see the film, they all see the same film. Now, about the fact of not explaining or leaving it open, to me, films should be dialogues. That's the way I understand cinema. I can't understand someone who's like, it's very fascist for me, someone who would just, you know, say, here you laugh, here you cry, here you feel like this, and shut up, you know. I'm not a vegetable, I'm not a carrot, I have a brain, I have emotions, I have blood, I have a sex, I mean, you know, and I can think.
So in that
and I consider people are the same, you know, and I think it's very despising for me to do this to cinema and to do this to people.
So in that sense, the audience is very important.
Yeah, because, I mean, when, honestly, you know, this man, he's actually the farmer who has the land across from us. And he's always been kind of not really, you know, he's like this. So when I showed the film, I went to his house and I said, I'd really like you to come and see the film. And he came with his wife. And his hands are like 5 times mine, you know.
Yeah.
I barely understand when he talks because he has a really heavy peasant accent. And he came out, and it was beautiful. He came out, he came to see me, and he said, you know, I don't like cinema, and I don't understand cinema so much, and I don't like it so much. I prefer books. And your film, it's like a book, because I can be me and I can think. I was crying. I mean, it's like, you know, when someone... And then he talked about things that were incredibly poetic, and he, you know, and he didn't give a shit whether the mother committed suicide or left or was in a memory of the, because it did the same thing. The girl was left alone.
Yeah, no matter what.
So that necessity of having everything explained. I mean, when you read a book, you build things yourself. And I think when you watch a film, when you watch a painting, it does things. You know, it's the same thing. Yeah. It's a dialogue. It's something with you. So this distance created by commercial cinema, to me, is very insulting in a way.
Do you feel very vulnerable yourself since the film came out? Because it feels so vulnerable. Nana is that way, but is it maybe the same for you?
And now, no. At the beginning, yeah. Locarno was really violent for me because I didn't realize, because it was the first time, so I was a virgin, which is nice to be virgin again. No, but it was really violent because you and I didn't know that, you know. You give something, and that thing cost you 3 years of your life. Yeah. I mean, this film was done with total of like 100,000 euro, which is ridiculous amount of money. So I ate a lot of bananas and pastas and and you, because it's, yeah, you know, you pushed it all the way and you think you cannot do better than this with this. So yeah, you're very fragile. Yeah. And then you give it to people, and suddenly you're craving for people to say things, to come and talk. You know, not, that's why this idea, that's why now I can put words and say film dialogues, blah, 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 because I had a hole in my stomach. And I didn't need people to come and say I was great, my film was wonderful. It wasn't that. I needed to know if what I had done had created something in you, you know? But now I got more and more, so now I'm okay. I'm strong, actually. I feel very strong. Yeah.
Well, I guess I can tell.
And I didn't cheat, you know. I mean, it's fine that you don't like it. It's fine that you don't give a shit. It's fine that, you know, you don't see it. It doesn't matter. But me, I know that I didn't cheat it, and I know that I was really as honest as I could be in the work, and not only with the film, but with the people I made it with. I mean, all along, the way, you know, all along. It was humanly, ethically, politically, cinematographically, that are the same thing. And that was really important for me. Yeah. So now I feel very strong. And then I'm going to do a nervous breakdown. You know?
But you don't know yet. Perhaps
Well, it's a very simple question, but how did you come up with the name Nana?
Because Kelina is Kelina. The little girl name, real name is Kelina. So sometimes she's Nana, sometimes she's Ninouche. Voilà. And also because it was funny, because it became her nickname, but it's also Zola, and it's also a film by Renoir, and it's okay.
I love the name. So.
You mentioned editing. All these hours. How does it work at the editing table with all these nanas?
I started working with a wonderful woman called Dominique Auvray. She's an editor. She's a wonderful woman. She's a pain in the ass, but she's a wonderful woman. And at one point, but we edited at home, in my home, because there was no money. So, but then I couldn't go to bed because I just couldn't. So every night I destroyed what I did on the new timeline in Final Cut, and looked for other things. And at one point she said, "You know what? You have to find your film. You're the only one who's going to find your film, so you have to find it. I'm out." And I hated her so much because she was abandoning me. She took the little money I had for editing, and I was left alone. And she was right. She was really right.
Yeah.
So how you do? You just, you have to get rid of the l'affect, the sentimental bullshit, because everything is extremely sentimental. The pig. It took me the most difficult thing to edit was actually the pig.
Why?
Because I wanted to film men doing things that I wanted to film those gestures that you won't see anymore, because this is forbidden and it's not transmitted to other generations. And the way the man that kills the pig, his knife it starts like this and it ends like this, and the way he's like a haute couture. His gestures are incredible.
Yeah.
So I filmed everything, and it was really hard. I wanted everything, but you can't have everything, so you have to get rid of your sentimentality.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with Kelina. With Kelina, it was, in a way, easier because it's the relation I have with children. I really respect them, but I don't have, they're human, they're person. They're not, I don't fantasize them. They're, And we had a very frontal relationship. So yes, there were words that I really loved. There were gestures that So you just don't sleep, don't eat, and sometimes your friends come by and they take you out and say you look like shit. And then you go back on the editing table.
Yeah.
Editing is to me, it's the most magic thing ever, because it's really. It's that one image, it's really, I didn't know how to use Final Cut very much, so I was like, but it is one image, it's one image.
Yeah.
It changes everything,
So you must have had lots of scenes where she talks and does plays and does things. Why this one scene, for example, where she curses and it's funny. The audience reacted to it a little bit. Why that choice?
Well, because I like cursing girls.
I thought so. Yeah.
Especially when they're 4. I don't know, to annoy parents, I guess.
And she just started out of the blue?
No, it's in the real life. It's because we had been shooting just me and a guy at sound, Olivier. And because I realized the camera was, I needed a bigger camera. So a bigger camera implied, because now you can you can really put the lens, the 35 millimeter lens directly on the camera, but at the time you couldn't. So you needed like the camera, a stupid machine that turns, and then the lens, And this I didn't control technically, and I didn't want to be like completely moron on the camera, and I needed to focus on her. So that's why there was a DP, and we had to special effect him out. When the people receive the thing, they're like, "Are you sure? What's the DP doing in the image?" So one day I said to Karina, I said, you know, next week we're going to be more people. There's going to be, you know, Leo and Marine, 4 people coming. And I was really scared.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, the way it worked, that intimacy allowed us a complete freedom. And, you know, I never forced her. If she didn't want to, you know, she wanted to go for a walk, we went for a walk. You know, she wanted to eat flowers, we ate flowers, it was fine, you know. But now, like, more people means a certain kind of organization.
Mm-hmm.
And that morning she got really, really, really pissed off and sad at me and said, I want them to go, they're ugly. I want us to do the film together. And I was the adult, I was supposed to comfort her, and it was very difficult because I felt the same way. So she's, you know, Cinema de Circus comes from that.
Yeah.
Because suddenly there's 4 people in this garden. I'm fighting and saying, I swear to God, if you crush one of the flowers, you're a dead person. You know, and Kelina says this is a circus, so it's Cinema de Circus. And then when she starts cursing, she's pissed off at me. It's like, you know, she's using words that I probably use. Yes, I sure do. And I have to learn how to talk like a lady. I will, I promise, one day.
I guess that
And
won't.
no, it will happen one day. I just need more water. And but then I use it, you know, that's the real reality. But then how I use it is the mother is gone, she's not there, and so she's using the mother's word, and it creates something else. And everything's like this, you know. It's like, so that's why when people use like this horrible word, docu-fiction.
Yeah.
It's like, leave us alone. Like, a film is a film, you know. It's like, if it's not because there's life in it that it becomes, you know, it's a film.
Beautiful last words. Now we really have to round up.
Okay.
Thank you so very
It's like
much.
this?
Yeah, it's like it's full circle. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you, Valérie.